conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, it's 2:30 on a Tuesday, so it is time for our Monday through Thursday 2:30 podcast. This is the podcast where you will hear the truth and the science about what actually happened to so many people during this opioid crisis. Um, right now, my life is absorbed by trying to get the editing finished on the book. I think I mentioned yesterday that the editors they want it finished by Sunday. The editing finished by Sunday. Wow, that's a tall order. I'm working on it, doing the best that I can without compromising quality. But we're close to having the book finished. So far, everybody that has read chapter 1 and replied has had wonderful things to say. I'm looking forward to more people reading more chapters and hearing back. And I'm looking forward to having the book ready to be distributed. It's an interesting book. Those of you who've been a steady listener of our podcast, you know that pretty much whatever I'm working on in the book, I'll grab a graphic and hop over here to the podcast. And so what you see on the screen there is is part of chapter 6, is what I'm working on right now. This letter absolutely fascinates me. Okay, I've read this letter so many times. This letter absolutely fascinates me. As you can see, it is a letter from the FDA. It says it right there at the top, FDA. And as you can see, it is a letter addressed to me. Okay, dear Dr. Smith, says right there. Okay, and as you can see, well, you would know this. Okay, but it's signed by Carol Bennett, Deputy Director, Office of Regulatory Policy at CEDAR, Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. Alex knows CEDAR very well because that's who we uploaded our last submission to. Okay, CEDAR, Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. So this is a big wig at CEDAR. This is a higher up. Okay, Carol Bennett is this is a Harvard trained attorney. Okay, and what I find just fascinating about this letter, okay, is that if you read the first paragraph, all right, they are acknowledging the genotoxicity. Okay, they quote me. Okay, let me read it. Dear Dr. Smith, I'm writing to inform you that the Food and Drug Administration has not yet resolved the issues raised in your citizens petition received December 16th, 2024, which, by the way, Alex submitted that. Thank you again, Alex. Your petition requests in part that the FDA, and here's where they quote me, quote, take every step possible to both stop the continuance of the genotoxicity in the population and supply the antidote to those poisoned. Oh, I lost my screen. And supply the antidote to those poisoned who were experiencing the symptoms of the poisoning and thus are in danger of imminent death. Okay, that's, yeah, they got it right. Okay, they got it right. They picked the right quote. Okay, and if you go to the paragraph below it, I mean, this is just incredible. FDA has been unable to reach a decision on your petition due to the need to address other agency priorities. Okay, so here, not only do we write in, but they quote us by saying, take every possible step to both stop the continuance of the genotoxicity in the population and supply the antidote to those poisoned who are experiencing the symptoms of poisoning and thus are in danger of imminent death. Imminent death. I didn't put that in this letter. She did. I didn't pull the quote with imminent death. She did. And then in the sentence right after she says imminent death, in the very next sentence, okay, she says they have the need to address other agency priorities. What could be more of a priority than imminent death? I think everybody recognizes here they're basically making fun of us. They're poking fun of us. They're mocking us here. Okay, I don't know how many of you were ever mocked on the playground in elementary school. Okay, but that's exactly what they're doing to us here. They're mocking us. They're making fun of us. Okay. Obviously, what she's saying is they don't believe us. They don't believe that there's been a genetic poisoning in the population. They don't believe that those who have been genetically poisoned are experiencing symptoms. They don't believe that people need access to buprenorphine or that buprenorphine is an antidote. They don't believe that people are in danger of imminent death. Okay? Now, I wrote that citizen's petition. It's well written. It contains a lot of, almost all of, pretty much all of, the same science and information that's in the book. Okay? The book goes into a little more description. Okay, the book's 300 pages. The citizen's petition was 50. Okay, so the book does the citizen's petition doesn't go into the depth of explanation that the book does. Okay, but I look at this and first off, Carol, you didn't have to pull that quote. In fact, you're the attorney from Harvard. Carol, you shouldn't have pulled that quote. That quote is going to come back and haunt you. That quote, this is going in the book. This entire letter is going in the book. Okay, and the book lays out in exquisite detail the science behind the genotoxicity, the genetic damage, the science behind the fact that buprenorphine is an antidote for those who've been poisoned. Okay, and the science behind the fact that for those who are experiencing the symptoms, they are in danger of imminent death. In fact, the book makes the point, well, the title of the book's Pharmaceutical Genocide. The book makes the point very well. 5 million are dead, Carol. 5 million are dead. And Carol, you are mocking their death. I mean, the arrogance of that, the sheer arrogance of that, it just blows my mind. Arrogance. Okay. Now I don't like to pull rank, but excuse me, Carol, I went to medical school. After medical school, I completed a residency. And after I completed a residency, I practiced emergency medicine. Okay, I have personally had about 100,000 patients who, at least in their opinion, were in a state of an emergency. Okay, so I've got decades, years of experience in emergency medicine. Okay, I think I got a pretty good idea of knowing what imminent death looks like. And I think I got a pretty good idea of knowing what a poisoning looks like. Carol, you went to law school. You've never seen a patient in an emergency. You've never treated an emergency. You've never dealt with imminent death. You've never tried to stop imminent death, which, by the way, it's not always easy to stop. In fact, sometimes it's impossible to stop. Okay, when somebody is on when they come into the emergency department, they're on a crash course to death, and you can see it. I mean, it's sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. Sometimes, I mean, it's too obvious, and we want to do everything we can to stop it, and sometimes there's just no stopping imminent death. It is a powerful force that can be very difficult to stop. Particularly on catastrophic events, blunt trauma, penetrating trauma, catastrophic heart attacks. It's catastrophic strokes. It's a train without an engineer. You can get in front of it. You're not going to stop it. Sometimes you can stop an imminent death. Okay, there's some wins. You get some wins in there. You get something in the W column. Okay, but Carol, one thing I learned from my years and years of experience in emergency medicine is you don't mock imminent death. That's a bad idea, Carol. That's a really bad idea. And Carol, this letter, as short and brief as it is, I've never seen anybody mock imminent death. In fact, this is the only letter I've ever seen in my entire life where somebody mocks imminent death. I've just never seen it before. Okay, because Carol, quite frankly, most people wouldn't do it. Carol, most people wouldn't mock imminent death. Okay, most people would have a respect. And most people would have a respect for those who have died. And most people would have a respect for those who have suffered. But Carol, you single-handedly did more to characterize and exhibit the traits of the imperialistic bureaucracy than any other single person has accomplished so far. The arrogance is just dripping off of your letter. The arrogance is just dripping off of your letter. Okay, the sarcasm is just dripping off of your letter. You're mocking us, Carol. I get that. I get it. Okay, I'm not a fool, Carol. You're mocking us. But Carol, I predict before all is said and done, you're going to be answering to this letter in front of a congressional hearing. That's my prediction, Carol. All right, everybody, let's hold here for today. Please reach out and let us hear from you. If you haven't sent a thank you email to Alex, please do so. So much is happening, and we're moving forward in ways we just wouldn't do without Alex. Now that we're further along, and we kind of see a start date for when the book can be distributed, Alex, I think we need to talk about going ahead and cranking up the email machine and sending out a large number of emails to see if anybody wants to. It's time to do the pre-purchase for real. I mean, we're within 3 weeks. It's time to do the pre-purchase for real. Everybody have a great afternoon. Please come back and visit us tomorrow. We'll be here. Me and Alex will be here. We'll be here at 2:30. Everybody have a great afternoon. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us. Don't forget to post this podcast on your social media, everybody else's social media. If you can find Carol Bennett's social media, would you please post this podcast on her social media? Bye-bye, everybody.